Welcome to The Rounds, our roundtable events where we discuss emerging and disruptive technologies and trends. If you're a strategic business or technology leader and are building competitive advantage, you're in the right place. We regularly bring together top-end user and vendor executives to share their perspectives and real-world expertise. Today's discussion focuses on the rationale for clouds and cloud-critical success factors. Joining us along with our host, Cal Braunstein, CEO and Executive Director of Research at Robert Francis Group, are Carlos Pereira, Distinguished Systems Engineer, Worldwide DC and Cloud at Cisco, Diogenes Rittori, OpenShift Product Manager at Red Hat, Joe McKenna, former VP Distributed Hosting Architecture and Engineering at Fidelity Investments, and Jeff Schaefer, Senior Technical Staff Member, Chief Security Architect, Cloud Managed Services at IBM.
From a large enterprise standpoint, public, private?
The question is interesting because you start with the premises that the majority of the moves to public cloud was to save money. So if you come a little back when this all started, although there was a perception that it's cheaper because people say I can swipe my credit card and something gets going, the real reason was agility. I can get this spin up faster rather than my current IT department is able to deliver.
When you talk about the decisions for public and private, what then should executives think about when they make a decision on going public versus going private with the cloud?
The first question I like to ask people, like, do you know your numbers? Do you know how much does it cost for you to spin up a VM? Do you know all the operational costs that currently in even your data center or even your private cloud environment, if you are able to actually get to the actual cost of the same assets they are going to rent from a cloud environment. I have the feeling that most people end up going to the public cloud because they don't want to go through the hassle of finding out the costs of spinning up one single VM of one core and let's say 512 megs of RAM internally. If you have a private environment where you also cannot count the cost, then for me that's just like standard virtualization. So the same premises that apply to your public provider, which is the ability to rent services and to use disposable services that you can not necessarily continue to use them, it has to be applied across your all environments. So I think before deciding whether private or public or when private or when public, it's to essentially to know your numbers. And the workload is very important. Are you writing workloads that can be moved across different public clouds? So I would consider these points to take a look at.
So that makes me wonder, Jeff, and to Diogenes' point, you need to know your costs. You do, from your side at IBM, an awful lot of helping people move that to an outsource to your private cloud or to your public cloud. How do you advise people?
I think that's always a challenge to get down to the real numbers of the cost in an existing enterprise, as well as what it will cost to operate full-time from a full scope perspective, no matter what cloud environment you go to. I would debate that it's not really a question of public versus private anymore. Is it on-premise or off-premise? Is it dedicated or shared? And what is the right mixture for my enterprise, right? I don't think anybody can make a single cloud decision today. It's almost always a hybrid strategy, and choosing which are the right workloads to go to the right environment and for what reasons.
The second part really comes down to how does it integrate with that enterprise engine? You've got a CMDB, change control, compliance, and audit. How am I going to do that in somebody else's cloud? When I look at cloud, it's a different beast. Things are there and then they're gone. You build a server today in a legacy environment, and that server stays there until you retire it, and move it out. Now, with the approach of trying to do these more cloud-native applications, it's going to be very, variable usage.
As we progress and as we are seeing this stuff today, we have multiple public clouds that has matured a lot on the services, and it's no longer about whether you are on the public cloud or you are on the private, because the technology that was only available on the public is now available on the private side of the house.
And a hybrid not only to the point of public versus private, but about the public versus other public versus other public.
Exactly.
Right? It's the ability to not have yourself in a position that you were locked in,
right?
Because you chose a public cloud provider that will make it very hard for you to move away from that.
That's a great point. We don't see a lot of single sourcing anymore. It's multi-provider.
At this point, the fact of multi-cloud has become a reality. It's not actually only because of the technical capabilities. We had Amazon in the beginning being the only game in town. Today we have multiples. And they come just for natural reasons, because I have an ALA contract that gives me access to the cloud for whatever reason, or I have an outsourced contract that can be spinning as a services, or I just have an app that has better API calls or better cost placing, and you end up with multiple clouds or even multiple on-prem implementations that gives you a closed operational model. So what I was saying before about consistency is a lot of customers are looking and say, okay, I fixed the problem of getting agility. Now I have multiple agile rabbits. How can I put them all together and try to get sense out of it?
Thanks for watching, and please join us for our continued discussion on cloud computing on our next release. If you are interested in seeing more cloud-related content, have comments or questions for our guests, want input from us about the topics we discussed today, would like to participate as a guest on the rounds, or have anything else you want to share, you can do so using our social media as described in the accompanying graphic. And please comment, rate, and subscribe. We'll see you next time on The Rounds.